What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is I'm sorry. Love After Lockup, season 3, episode 55. Child, I don't know. So we start off. We have Sean and we have Sarah. Sarah has agreed to come and spend the weekend with Sean. Sean is cleaning up the house. He is getting ready. He is excited, looking forward to it. He set up a nice little indoor picnic. He said it's too cold to go outside, but we're going to have ourselves a nice little indoor picnic. He had strawberries and wine. And then he had these 2 corn husks. And she was like, what? Well, I mean, it's just a little joke. You know, since we didn't make love in the cornfields, I just thought it was a little joke. What do you think was funny about that? These men be cracking me up. They are so fixated on sex. Like, anyway, so they're talking, and he asked her, well, you know, did your mom like me? And she was like, yeah, no, not really. You know, I've been arguing with her. You know, she don't trust you. She kind of trying to figure some things out. And he was like, well, why wouldn't she not trust me? Because you're lying. Because you're a liar. But anyway, they had that conversation, and then they decided they're going to go on upstairs, honey, and they're going to make love. Now, she said, I'm nervous. It's been about 3 years since I've had sex. She said, and honestly, I don't remember ever having sex sober. And I've heard that before from people who are, you know, recovering alcoholics and drug addicts, that is something that, you know, so I can understand that was a big deal for her. And they go on and, you know, have sex. It was a very cringeworthy moment that we had to sit there and watch them getting ready to have sex before they put the cameras out. That's always cringeworthy for me because it seems so awkward. And I know it's like really realistic rather than like a polished love scene from a movie, but it's just a lot. So anyway, they had sex, child, and she says it's really good, and he was so patient with her, and he said she's really good, and all that good stuff. And then he decides at that moment that this is the time when I should come clean. We're having pillow talk. We're laying here half naked. We're still in the afterglow, and now you thought was the right time to tell this woman you've been lying to her, that you confessed that you had 6 kids, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 kids that you didn't tell her about. She was like, why wouldn't you tell me you had 6 kids? He was like, well, I don't know, I didn't want to freak you out, and you know, you didn't want me to meet your kids. She said, meeting a child and knowing about a child is 2 different things. She said, well, what else you got to tell me about? Just go ahead and tell me. Just come clean. What else you need to tell me? Well, I was engaged to another inmate. What? So this is what you do? You just run around getting engaged to inmates? Like, are we experiments to you? Are we a joke for you? Like, what is the deal? No, I really cared about you. It didn't work out with us. I mean, we just weren't right for each other. Well, how long ago was it? We already know he's not good with the math on the fly, child. He gonna say, I don't know. She said, I need a real answer. Like, I don't know, isn't it? I mean, maybe about 6 months. Me and you were talking for 6 months ago. Like, me and you been talking more than 6 months. She said, oh, was that during the time that I didn't hear from you? He was like, no, that wasn't it. She was like, yes, it was. That was during the time that you went MIA. Baby, the whole time they arguing, she getting dressed. She getting her stuff together, and she gets the hell up out of Dodge. She was like, I guess my mama was right about you all along. You ain't shit. You are a liar, and the truth ain't in you. So, child, did that go. Ray and Brittany, listen. Brittany decides she gonna roll up on Ray. Now, let me say this. I'd be a liar if I was gonna sit here and say that me and my girlfriends back in the day ain't never rolled up on nobody. I'd be lying to say that. I would be a liar. But let me tell you, first of all, Brittany, you're not 21 anymore, because I'm talking about when I was in my early 20s, okay? You're not 20 anymore to be rolling up on nobody. Then you knocking on somebody's house you don't know in the middle, well, it wasn't the middle of the night, but it was late at night. You just roll up in the people's house talking about something, where the hoes at, where the party at, and they were like, this is the party. They are literally sitting at the table playing dominoes, drinking. They ain't even had no music playing. They probably was just straight vibing on some man stuff. Ray sitting there with a cigar in his hand like, what you talking about? You know, Ray, what you talking about? This is the party. What you mean? Then she was like, well, when you said your cousin lived down the street, I mean, and he lived in this nice house. I thought maybe he was a drug kingpin or something. So what the fuck? So, Brittany, you the only one that can live in it. Because let's be clear, if he live in the neighborhood, he's a single black man that has a home in the same neighborhood where you are as a single black woman. But why is it with you, you work 2 jobs and you bust your ass, versus him, you got to assume that he's a drug dealer? And a kingpin at that. Really? So then she gonna ask the guy that was sitting at the table minding his business. All he was doing was trying to play some dominoes, okay? She gonna say, are you a convicted felon? He gonna look at her and say, yes. I wish I would have said yes. You don't know her. You don't know her. You don't need to tell her your business. She was like, see, Ray? She talking about some no offense. Well, how else are we supposed to take it? Did you just come busting up in somebody's house that you don't know, that you ain't never been introduced to, and start asking who a felon? Child. So she leaves, and Ray was like, yeah, you go ahead and go home. She was like, so you not coming? You mean to tell me you ain't coming home now? You not coming? No, I'm not coming. So he goes back in the house, and his friends, even though they think, I think they convinced that Brittany's crazy as hell, they understand her intent. Even if her delivery was bad, they understand that her intent is for him not to get in trouble, him not to get, be hanging around the wrong people, doing the wrong things, and getting caught up. And so he was like, well, I see what y'all saying. Well, let me go on over there. So he goes home, and Brittany's sitting on the couch waiting for him, talking about something. You made me look stupid. He was like, I made you look stupid. How about you made yourself look stupid because you decided to roll up over somebody's house you didn't know, knocking on the door like you the damn police in the middle of the night, okay? And she was like, I don't understand why you're not going to turn this around on me and make me the bad guy. You're not going to make this out to be my fault. And like, I did something wrong. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong. And baby, she makes him sleep on the couch, child. So the next day he brings her breakfast in bed. And now that everybody has calmed down, she said, well, I will admit that maybe I have a little bit of the blame in this. Not all of the blame, but maybe a little bit of the blame in this. She said, but understand that I'm really just concerned. I just don't want you to do anything, be out here hanging with the wrong people, and end up back in jail. And Ray was like, listen, let's be clear. I'm the one that was in jail. I'm not going to consciously do anything that's going to put me back in jail. Like, especially something like who I'm hanging around and all of that. Like, you got to trust me. I haven't done anything for you not to trust me. And she was like, but you weren't answering my calls. You wouldn't answer my calls. You wouldn't answer my calls. I understand that. I would probably be frustrated as well if my boyfriend did not call me back all day. I'm calling him and texting him. I get that. You miss one phone call. You miss 2 phone calls here and there. But the fact that I have been blowing your phone up all day, because it could have just as easily been an emergency and I needed you. So that she had a valid point to say, listen, don't ignore me. But let's be clear, she probably started calling him 5 minutes after he walked out that damn door and was calling him every 5 minutes since then. And at a certain point, he probably put that shit on silent and kept it moving. That's what he probably had did. Because that's what I would have done. But they both agreed and they made up, and yeah, life is life, okay? Brittany and Marcelino, I'm going to go ahead and knock them out because it's actually, well, anyway. So, Marcelino wants to cheer her up. She's still a little depressed, feeling some kind of way about the whole halfway house situation. So, he ends up calling her dad. He calls her dad to come down. Now, mind you, her dad lives in Alaska. I'm going to need them to stop acting like Alaska is, get in the car and drive down. Like, even to Nevada, it's a hop. Like, that ain't no quick bloop bloop. That's the situation. And so so the son, the 3-year-old that was with them, Marcelino gonna tell him it's our little secret, don't say nothing, and we're gonna surprise mommy. And of course, the first thing the little boy did when he walked to the door is say, mommy, I got a surprise for you. And so Brittany was like, well, you might as well go on and tell me, because the 3-year-old snitched on you. Like, you really thought a 3-year-old was going to keep a secret. So you might as well go on and tell me. So he tells her, I convinced your dad to come down so me and you can, go spend some, he gonna watch the kids for a couple of days, for a little while. He didn't say a couple of days, I guess. But I mean, you coming from Alaska, you gonna be there a couple of days. So me and you can have some alone time because I really feel like you need it. Now, I understand where Brittany was coming from. Marcelino's intent was pure. But what she was saying was, what you just did was create more work for me. Because now I got to make sure that the house is clean and in order. Because now we got guests coming. And I think a lot of times, men, more so than women, they do these things where they think they're doing something really great, not understanding that on the back end, you're probably causing more work than what you're solving. But his intent was good. But then we also find out later on that Brittany got an email from her biological dad. So she went to go talk to her mom about it. Of course, they made it all dramatic. The only person I can talk to about this isn't my husband. Child, you went to talk to your mama. That's who you should have been talking to. Because Marcelino can't do nothing about your biological daddy reaching out to you. But your mama know who this man is. Come to find out that this man wants to try to have a relationship with her. He said, she said, I never really got a chance to know him. He was never really a part of our life. And of course she blaming her mama for that too. Like, you ran him away. And her mama was like, I ain't ran him away. He won't shit. He won't there. And so she said, listen, whatever decision you make, I'll be here to support you. Okay. And Brittany is just, because her stepdad, the guy that's coming down from Alaska, she's worried about him because she said, I've never disappointed him before. And here I am. I made this huge mistake. And I feel like I want to disappoint him because I was so stupid in what I did. So she got a lot going on. My biggest concern with her at this point is for her not to relapse. It's a lot on her. It's a lot going on. It's a lot of different emotions. I just don't want to see her relapse. That's it. That's all. That's the caboodle, right? Last but not least, child, we have Stan and Lisa. Listen, Stan is at the house worried about where Lisa is and what Lisa is doing and who she is doing it with, okay? ReallyTV. Life after lockup. Let me tell you what you don't never need to show me again. You don't never need to show me Stan and his bikini briefs laying out on his deck getting some sun. I don't need to see that. That is between him and the sun gods. I don't need to see none of that ever again. And he was in his socks. So you mean to tell me that this man stripped down to his drawers but kept his socks on to get some sun? That's the tan he looking for? Playing games. Lisa is talking to her friend, trying to convince her friend that Stan needs to be taught a lesson and he can't be playing these games with women. She had the nerve to say that God put me in Stan's life to teach him a lesson. God, this thing got nothing to do with God. Don't bring him in this. This is not of God. It is not of God or by God. Don't bring him in this or her. Ain't got nothing to do with this. She wants to teach him a lesson and she wants to catfish Stan and she wants her friend to do it. Now they flirting with each other and they, building up to this whole sex situation. But come to find out, child, they got into an argument about her not wanting to catfish Stan, and Lisa ended up calling Stan to come pick her up the next day, child. So Stan takes her rock climbing. Listen, the other thing I don't ever need to see again with TV is Stan as rock climbing with that wig all over his head and sweating, okay? But Lisa, tells him, you got something you need to tell me? You sure you don't want to come clean about nothing? And he tells her that he went out to dinner with his ex-wife ex-girlfriend, while she was out doing whatever she was doing and who she was doing it with. And she was like, well, you don't get to control me. I can come and go as I please. He was like, okay, well, I went to dinner with a friend. She my ex, okay, but she a friend. And here's what's funny to me. Lisa, you had every intention of sleeping with this man. With this woman. So you mad at him for going out to dinner with his ex, but you straight up was in a hotel room with a woman you had every intention of sleeping with. The hypocrisy of it all. The double standard, ma'am. Oh, get it together. We're not playing these games. Anyway, that was this episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Child, drop it in the comments. Peace.